Today's video, we are going to be talking about the idea that they give you no chance. This is something that I've been hearing coming a lot from people out there who are very frustrated with the current situation. They're very frustrated with the administration. They're very frustrated with the economy in general. And I've heard people say this, that they only gave us a chance, right? They give us no chance, or they're taking the chance away, or something of this idea that there is no possibility for you to be making decisions based on your understanding of the current situation in order to advance yourself in the most productive way that you could possibly imagine. Like, this is what a lot of people are saying out there. And I'm thinking to myself, where is it that they get this idea that they have no chance, or that somebody else has to come up and say, oh, by the way, here, I got this envelope, and inside of it is your chance. Do you want to take it? Now, when I think about what it is that people do individually to try and figure out what it is that they need to do to try and make the best decisions for themselves, to advance, to try and find that successful environment that they know exists out there, but yet they go and they blame the administration, or they blame the banking system or the powers that be, and say, oh, you guys are making it difficult, hard, I can't do it, it's your fault. What is it that we can do to bitch and complain about it so that the situation will be different and then I can get my chance? Like, I don't know what it is that people are anticipating coming from anybody's action outside of their own to give them the ability to then have a successful life. Like, you have your own decisions to make. And so when I see people out there who are saying, man, they give us no chance, and I'm thinking, well, what about the people who are making it? How come they have a chance? Like, where did their chance come from? Did it just come out of nowhere and now they have chance and you don't? Of course you have the same chance that they have. It's all about the decisions you make, the feelings that you have about it, and whether or not you feel confident with what it is that you have for skills, for your ability to provide something that's useful and helpful, for your ability to use that to go and advance yourself in a way that says, man, I can be successful. I think about this all the time when I think, man, so many times I am finding out there that the underlying economic forces that are playing out, creating the situation of inequality where you have ever increasing amounts of separation between the rich and the poor, is the exact same economic forces that you can use to then put yourself in a position that you have a massive amounts of abundance. Most people will never see it. And because most people are anticipating and hoping that things will stay the same, they end up making decisions based on that idea. Well, right now, these current circumstances, and if they don't change, I will be okay. Everything changes constantly. You have to adapt to the change. Nobody's going to be able to retain their job the entire time. There was a time in this country where it seemed very logical to get a job for a corporation and stick with that corporation through the entire career, you know, from the time you graduated high school or college all the way to the time you graduated. The idea that you stick it out with one particular job is very unlikely nowadays. Most of the time we have to constantly change and adapt and move on to other things, other ideas, other skill sets, other business ideas. It has to be constantly evolving because things move very quickly now. You know, it's not a game that you can't win. That's the point. You know, it's not fun. We can't change the game to adapt to our understanding of it. We have to understand it differently and then adapt to the game. And knowing that there is so much out there to be had, when I see people out there who are trying to convince other people to not go off there and get it, but instead change the direction and energy that they are using to then complain about the situation and hope and wish and dream that there will be a change. Which one of these do you think is going to be successful? The one who says, man, I recognize that I don't like it, but that's not for me to decide. What is for me to decide is what is it that I can do in this situation that I do not like in order to create a better way. That is it. Anything else is going to be wishful, hopeful dreaming of something that is going to show up, that is going to say, hey, I'm going to give you this permission to go ahead and be successful. Right? And so people sit around and they wait. When is it going to come? When is my chance? When are they going to provide me with my chance, my ability to be successful? When do I get permission? Right? I mean, at any given moment, you could step out into the world and you can start doing anything you want. There is nobody, all these people saying, oh man, they're interfering with your rights and the democracy and blah, 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 and they go on and they talk about all these things that you're losing. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is it that you're paying time and attention and energy towards? Can you tell me one right that I have lost? Because, like, I know my constitutional rights. I talk about them here pretty regularly. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution, you know, the freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, the right not to have to quarter troops less than in time of war. The Fourth Amendment, you know, the one that everybody should know by heart, that hardly anybody knows. The Fourth Amendment, the right to be secure in your persons, houses, papers, and effects from unreasonable searches and seizures, and no warrant shall be issued, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons and things to be seized. You know, that's one of the most important rights that you should know. It keeps you protected from all the entities out there, from all the authorities who come up and say, hey, what do you got? What are you doing? Where are you going? And you could say, I'm sorry, sir, I have a Fourth Amendment that I think I'm going to be exercising at this time. So this isn't a consensual conversation without a warrant. Goodbye. How many people actually study their rights enough to know when they are actually being violated? How many people have turned the idea of what is a right into some sort of thing that the government can possibly give you? These people are delusional. The government cannot possibly give you a right. You tell the government what your rights are. You know? And that's the difference inside of it. People need to conduct themselves in a way that has them less reliant on the government. That every time they point the finger at them, they give them importance. They give them more importance in their world. They say, I can't exist unless you behave differently. You know, this is the unfortunate situation that most people end up facing nowadays, because they simply just don't understand how it is that they can actually live in a world that says government is not that important. But instead, they make government the most important thing in their entire life. And they get mad at people who say, don't make them important, make them less important. Start making decisions for yourself that's outside of their importance. And they just simply don't know how to do it. They can't even fathom the idea. So you wonder, when is it that they're going to give you a chance? Your chance is here and now. It's ever present. It's always there. It's never not there. Whether or not you like the idea of taking that chance is a whole different story. Because most people say, well, I don't want that chance. I want this chance, and it needs to look in this particular way, and it needs to be offered to me, and it needs to happen right now. And I think to myself, well, sit around, wish and hope and dream and pray for that to happen, but you'll most likely end up suffering the consequences of being left behind. Because your chance is here and now. You don't wait for somebody to ask you if you want it. That's not how a chance works. The chance is you take advantage of the situation that is present right here and right now. When somebody offers you up something, you take advantage of the situation. You say, yes, thank you, I will do it. Not, oh man, I don't know if I can get it done. Eh? This is the mindset of a people who will find themselves in they will find themselves in a spot in which that they will beg and pray and hope that somebody shows up. What happens if they don't? What happens if those people do not show up? What if they do not behave in the way that you are hoping for? Are you prepared and ready to deal with that? All these protesters out there saying, oh, we need to change the way that this is all going down. It's super important. And I'm thinking to myself, if all those people were taking their time, effort, and energy to try and figure out a way to separate themselves from the government, we would not be having this problem. Whatever that problem might be for them. Because for me, I don't have a problem. I don't think about it being a problem. I think of only opportunities that I could possibly see out there that nobody else is taking advantage of because they're too busy complaining about the situation. Where's your chance? I mean, literally putting up the blocks that says, there is no chance here. There's no chance. Don't you say there's a chance. I'm going to hold up a sign that says there's no chance here. And you better listen to me. Otherwise, you're an ignorant fool who just believes in all the powers that be taking over control. So you read my sign, you look at my sign, and you believe what I have to say about there being no chance, or else you're one of them. All right? And then you wonder why the majority of the people are suffering the consequences. Here it is, chance all around them, opportunity all around them, and they literally hold up a sign that says, if you don't agree with me, you're wrong, you're bad, you're evil, and you should be someplace else but not here. Huh, interesting. I see how this is going down. Well, while you're busy trying to convince other people to think like you are about how it is that there is no chance and there's no capabilities and there's no possibilities and you're still waiting for permission, I'm going to go off and I'm going to try and get mine, okay? I mean, is that all right if I try and go and get mine? If I ignore your sign that says there's no possibilities and I go and I say, yeah, there is possibilities, and I go and get it? And if I happen to be successful at that, are you going to be mad at me for that? I'm just curious. I mean, you know, because that's what I'm planning on doing. And if you get mad at me for that, I mean, I'm going to have to say, oh, well, you have your opportunity too. I mean, if you choose not to do it because you don't like the government and you want to prove the government wrong by failing and then saying, look, I proved it. I failed, right? I failed. Look how bad you did this to me. And then you could be like, aha, I told you so, they're evil. And that's going to make you feel good? I mean, that's how I see a lot of people behaving. They literally do things that don't give them the opportunity, but because they just don't see the opportunity or see failure or see miserable expectations, then they create the miserable expectations, and therefore it's their reality. They're absolutely 100% correct with everything that they are saying. They have no chance. They have no way. They're going to fail. It's a miserable existence for them. You're absolutely right. Those people are, I couldn't agree with them more. That's exactly what they are. I'm not trying to be like frustrated or angry sounding, but I am very serious when I say it. What it is that you think and feel is going to happen in your life is exactly the way it's going to be. I know, because I lived that for so long. I mean, the first 40 years of my existence, I was not thinking properly. Right? And one day I just said it to myself. I was just like, just start doing the next right thing, whatever that could possibly be. You don't know what it is because you've always screwed everything up. So what is the next right thing? And I knew the next right thing for me was to give up alcohol and to start getting out of debt. Those were the two first right things for me to do. And when I started stepping into that realm, I started seeing possibilities and options and availability and abundance, and everything that I could ever possibly have ever wanted started showing up. You know, people say, oh man, you don't look that wealthy. You work at a lumber yard. You drive this old Suburban. And I'm thinking to myself, you have no idea where I came from. You have no idea how awesome of a situation it is to be when you could just pay your bills on time, and that was your whole anticipation of everything that you were doing. And the abundance that comes beyond that is nothing but gravy. Dude, I am living it in the way that I've ever possibly imagined, as people are telling me, and I look all around, they say you can't do this, and I'm like, what do you mean? That's not accurate. That is not accurate to say. And I mean, maybe it's accurate for them in their world and what they want, which is their ego to be right. And so by destroying their own existence and then pointing at the administration and say, this is your fault, they prove themselves right and they feel good about that. I don't understand that anymore. That was the mindset that I used to have. I had to give that up, man. I had to let go of my ego, which is one of the hardest things for me to do. Like, I have a very big ego, you know, and I mean, it's something that I have to admit and recognize that a lot of times it gets in my way. When you're willing to admit it to yourself that everything that's in your existence is there because you had put it there, everything. There are people who are victim to circumstances, don't get me wrong, I get it, but the majority of the people suffer their consequences that they are in from their own piss poor decision making. And it's just, that's all there is to it. I think about it when I see people who are very much suffering the consequences in their old age, and I think to myself, I remember you 25 years ago partying it up, drinking, gambling, doing all the other stuff, wasting the money, buying the new vehicles and everything else, and now you're sitting here wondering, oh, woe is me, they don't give me any chance. Huh. Okay. Yeah, they sure don't. They don't give you any chance, because I understand by you having that belief system, you are 100% right. You have no chance. Everybody else does. I mean, at least the people who think they do. Right? The more I see these protests pushing out that idea that you have no chance, it's just like if they would only give it to you. What? Give you what, man? Permission? Go for it, man. Ain't nobody gonna give you permission. Just go get it, man. I mean, it's just like, that's what I find so amusing about the whole thing. It was just like, how could anybody ever possibly give you a chance? That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't exist. Your chance is you taking advantage of the situation. That's your chance. You know? Somebody offers you something, you say yes. When you have the idea that you have something that is helpful and useful in this world, and you say, man, I want to provide this to this world and be beneficial in a way that says I'm useful, like you just have that mindset, the natural consequence from that is a flow of abundance. It's just weird how it works like that. People want to help you. People want to be part of the game. They want to be in that network. But if you don't believe that it exists, and you don't believe that there's no chance of it, and if you're waiting for somebody else to hopefully give you that chance, you'll never get it. It will never be there. Ever. I mean, here we go into a time in which that it is going to get more and more difficult for the average everyday person to succeed. Paycheck to paycheck is going to get more of a percentage of the working class environment going into the future. The ability to save and invest is going to become less and less going into the future, and this is a problem for everybody who is anticipating on having a day job, then relying on that day job. It won't work. A day job today and a career choice today that says, oh man, this is a wage or a salary that is going to meet the standard of living that I am hoping to achieve. By the time you get there, if you are like 15 years old, 20 years old, trying to figure out what it is that you want to do for your future career path, nobody ever makes that. Nobody ever falls into it. Some people do. But ultimately, whatever it is that you are looking at and it's saying, man, this is going to meet the standard of living that I am hoping to achieve, by the time you get there, it will not do it. It will have faded away, and it will no longer be it will turn itself into a paycheck to paycheck position, because 80% of the people are going to be suffering this by 2050. This is the trajectory. If things change, we can say something different. But as far as the last few decades have concerned, when you think about the numbers, that the direction that they are going, what we are going to find is that 80% of the people will be in a position in which that they will have absolutely no chance in the world of doing anything except for showing up for work. You cannot rely on that. There is so many opportunities, so many options, so much ability to earn extra money, the money beyond the money you're already making. Cutting back on your living expenses and increasing your income is the only option you have. To look at the government and say, when are you going to give me my chance? You will fail. That is a failure in the making. Even if you were given the opportunity to pick your choice now of the career that is going to meet the standard of living you want, it won't be there by the time you get there. The job might be there, but the pay won't cut it anymore. This is the direction that we're headed. Getting started early in investments, dividend-paying stocks, bond portfolios, rental properties, businesses, right? These are the things that you need to go to, because picking the right job won't be enough. It just won't be. I don't care what job you pick. There might be some careers, some places in which that you can say, no, look, I can do it right here in this little isolated area. But for the majority of the people across the country, they are not going to be able to go down that road and have any expectations. They should not have any expectations of achieving anything resembling the American dream, if that's what the path that they're choosing to do. If that's it, if that's the path, they will be the ones saying, where's my chance? How come I can't make it? They did something. They're greedy. They're whatever. They. Never once ever taken into consideration that I should have done something different. All right, 20 minutes into this rambling. What do we got here? Gratitude keeps your attitude in check. Absolutely it does. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I am so grateful to now be in a position. Like, if I was grateful for anything that I have gotten from this YouTube channel, from the ad revenue that I've gotten from it, from the other experiences and flow of money that I was able to generate off of it, if anything that I would say, it was just like, I am so thankful that I can pay my bills on time. I cannot think of anything else that I am more grateful for, because there was a time in my life that I didn't think I could do it. And I didn't think I was ever going to be able to do it. And now when I do it and it feels so natural, and when I see that bill come up, I just pay it and I don't think about whether or not I can, that right there is the most greatest feeling that I could ever possibly have asked for. All the rest of the stuff is great. Don't get me wrong. I have great times, communications, networking, all the other stuff that comes with amazing times, right? Almost like miracle kind of things feeling, right? But just that simple thing, paying my bills on time. Dude. Hey, I live on a reservation, and your point is so true. People here get everything: free medical, college, 1% interest auto and home loans, trust funds, and basically UBI. Poverty still abounds. Well, yeah, and the thing is like, it doesn't really matter how much money you get. Like, I'm starting to realize this. Like, you know, they have all these numbers, and like Social Security is going to pay out until blah, 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 right? And I'm thinking, it doesn't really matter the money that you get. It's how productive you are, how useful your skill set is. Money is just, it's so weird of a concept to understand. Like, the flow of money, the banking system, financials, precious metals, currencies versus, okay, so you got all this stuff that goes on, but then when you really bring it down, everything in the world carries an energy with it, and money is one of those things. Right? And so if you have an energy that says, I am productive, I am useful, I am helpful, then abundance comes to that. Generally, money is the mediator in between your abundance and your skill set and what it is that you are thinking and feeling. And so this money is what it is that's used to transfer it, right? It's like, oh, I want that thing over there, but you have to have money. But that's like the mindset of the people who then get themselves trapped in, like, I need the money. It's not there. The abundance is already right there. The money is not an interference between you and the abundance. Most people put their mindset into that, saying, oh, it's right there, but it's blocked off because my ego says I have to have the money first. Okay? That's not necessarily the ego either. It could be just the mindset that people have been raised with because of the movies and music and stories and family and schools and everything else that we went to. Now, I know this to be the fact that it ends up feeling like a magical experience when it ends up taking place, where you found the abundance but you didn't necessarily use the money to get it. And it doesn't necessarily feel like, man, I achieved this because of the energy that I was carrying. But that's exactly what it is. It comes from the most obscure areas in which that you were thinking. You didn't think it was going to come this way. It just all of a sudden manifested itself that way. And you wonder, man, how is this even possible? This magical experience of being in it, where it's just like all of a sudden abundance is all around, but yet I don't really necessarily have the money to pay for it all. Because I just excluded the money out of the concept. Money is part of it. Abundance is not money. Okay? People have a tendency to think, oh, money is abundance. That's not right. Okay? And so they end up putting up the blocks to the abundance, not realizing that the money would probably just flow to them so that they could acquire the abundance if they just thought, man, am I being helpful and useful, productive, and doing the next right thing? All of a sudden, windows of opportunity showed up that you weren't expecting. You take that window of opportunity because that's chance, right? You taking the chance. You take that window of opportunity, all of a sudden you have something that's coming that you didn't expect. You didn't expect it to come this way. You had no anticipation. That wasn't your job to really even do that. The abundance finds its way to you. Literally, it will find its way to you. And again, like, people are like, how in the world can you possibly? That's not right. You have to go out there. You have to bust your ass. You have to work real hard. You have to be in pain and suffering and misery in order to acquire the stuff that you need in life, because that's what you have always been told. How many times? Oh, he worked so hard to have that in his life. It's just like, oh, well, in order to have something, you have to work real hard. That's not true. Right? I mean, sometimes you do have to work hard in order to acquire some things, I mean, that's not saying that it's not possible. Like, it's a real thing, but it's not necessary. That's not necessary at all. Once you have the feeling and understanding and knowing that you have access to everything in this world, if you choose to go get it, if you choose to make decisions based on the idea that you do not have an option, that there is things that are blocking you, that you are going to be limited from things that are on the external, then you will suffer the consequences of that. There is very little doubt in my mind. Did I get a super chat up there? Let's go check that out. All right. You have to work very hard for your first million, then money makes money. Yeah, and I think about that in itself. Like, do you really have to work really hard for your first million? Maybe. What is hard work? Is hard work just being disciplined? Like showing up every day and then thinking, okay, I'm not going to go to the bar. I'm not going to go buy joints. I'm not going to go gambling. I'm not going to, drop it on the strip club, right? And all these pleasurable experiences that you could go out there and do. Excuse me. But instead, I'm going to be very disciplined. I'm going to go home and I'm going to try and work on a business. I'm going to try and level up my skills. I'm going to try and educate myself in something. Okay? That's what I'm going to do in my off time. And then hopefully with that understanding, I'll be helpful and useful to this world. Like, this is the hard work. Does it sound hard? Does it really sound that hard to not go to the strip club? I mean, I know for some people that might be a really hard thing to do. Is it really that hard to do? It's really hard not to go to the bar. I know. It's pretty hard not to stop for joints. It's pretty hard not to gamble. That's hard work. So if that's the hard work you're talking about, yeah, that's hard work. I know. It was very difficult for me to do that too. Once you stop doing those things, that hard stuff that's hard not to do, you are going to find that everything else, the flow of money and abundance, is easy. Right? See, abundance is easy. Scarcity is hard. That's the way it is. Abundance is easy. It's like, I've related this down many times. It's like fishing, right? Have you ever been fishing before where it's just like every cast is catching one? The abundance is easy. You don't even have to really try that hard. Whatever you toss out there, they're hitting. But then there's times when they're not hitting. It's very difficult. It's hard. You're switching through lures. You're up and down the streams. You're trying to figure out what it is that you can do. And when you finally do land that fish, it took a lot, right? Because scarcity is hard and abundance is easy, and it's always been that way. You just have to listen. You just have to literally believe it for yourself that that's the way it is. If you don't believe it, then you're absolutely right. But if you believe that there's nothing but abundance out there, then that's all you're going to see. It's just opportunity and options everywhere. I had a buddy one time who I was just amazed. He was so resourceful in everything that he could do. And I'm like, man, how is it that you're able to do all this stuff? And he looked at me and he picked up his cell phone. He says, you ever seen one of these? And I'm like, of course. He's like, you do realize you can get anything you want with one of these, right? And he put it down and I'm like, wow. I mean, I sat there and watched him at his his kitchen island table there, make so many deals, just sitting there making phone calls on social media, platforms, doing marketplace stuff, and he would buy and sell stuff all day long. And he was just like, dude, everything's out there. He was just like, dude, you can just go get anything you want. Like, that was his mindset, and I was just amazed when I would watch him do it. I'm like, man, he can. Why? Because everything is there. It's always there. It's ever present. Listening to you has changed my financial future for my family. I really appreciate that you are here on YouTube. Have a great week. Well, thank you, Pastor Pig, for the $4.99 and those kind words, and for being here, listening, and studying up on the economics, for all the comments, everything, guys. Like, we here together on this channel have, in my opinion, have really formed a unique community that is very special, and it's very much geared to the average everyday person, right? Like, people all the time, it was just like, what about, making millions of dollars in trades? And I'm thinking, no, what can you do with your daily life, right? Like, not everybody's going to be a day trader. Not everybody's going to go out there and, do, real estate, investing and stuff like that. Not everybody's going to do those kind of things. But people can do things as a working class individual to then give yourself the ability to be on the other side of the wedge. The hardest part of that is just knowing that you have to do it and can do it. A lot of times people are like, oh, they make fun of me because I do it with this YouTube channel, and they're like, oh man, yeah, not everybody's going to be able to just go out there and make videos and make money off of it. And I'm thinking, well, that's not true. I think anybody could do that. I really do. I mean, I'm proof of it. I went out there, fired up a video, started talking, and was very consistent and very, deliberate in what it was that I was trying to do here on YouTube. And it ended up catching on, right? I think anybody could have a YouTube channel, but I agree, not everybody's going to do it. I worked this YouTube channel like it was a second job. I put a lot of time, effort, energy to put into this YouTube channel. I could have done that to a side hustle. I could have done that I could have taken a second job. I could have started a side hustle business. I could have done all kinds of stuff with that time. I chose to do YouTube. I had to make YouTube videos for a very, very, very long time before I started getting paid. It didn't happen right away. It took a long time. And then when it did happen, that I was able to monetize the channel, it took a very long time before it actually started generating any kind of real revenue that you could say, holy crap, this is going to change my life. Like, I remember a time I made $10 on a video, and I thought to myself, holy moly, if I do one of these every single day, I could have like $300 a month. That is like incredible. Oh my God, right? That feeling was far more overwhelming than the time that I made $10,000 in a month. Now, when lumber was running up to its all-time high and everybody was looking for lumber information, and I had a million videos that I had put out, the channel was incredibly popular at the time. I did not expect that to last, and it didn't last. Right? But I was far more excited the day that I realized that I could make $300 in a month than the day that I made $10,000. It's because knowing the direction that I was headed was far more exciting. It was the idea of being able to have something in my life that I could advance, that I could push, that I could make bigger. That right there changed everything about the way that I was thinking and feeling, and it hadn't even shown up yet. Like, I had nothing yet. I was still deep in debt. I was broke. I was all the stuff. Like, the condition of my life had not changed yet. But that magical experience of watching that happen within the YouTube channel, within this YouTube channel, that day where I saw a change, where I made that $10 video, it was a $10 video that did it. Boom. I got very excited. Right? And people who have that, when they go out there to start their business, when they are out there doing their hustle, that's the energy that gets them the abundance. You don't have to have the money, right? But you do have to have the right mindset. The money shows up as a consequence of having the right mindset. What time is it? Dope. Okay, guys, I got to go. Thank you so much for hanging out and listen to me and go off about, how your chances right here, right now. But I truly believe that. I think that for everybody out there. I also think that there's going to be plenty of people out there who do not believe that you have a chance, who think that there is going to be consequences and that you will have to suffer through and that your abilities are not going to be useful and all this other stuff. They try to push you down. And I think to myself, let them do that. You know why? Let them build up and group up and do that, because that's your competition. While they're sitting there trying to figure out what it is that the government can do that's going to make their life better, you're not in competition against those people going to make your life better. You see? Literally, that's your competition. That's the people you have to outrun. Let them carry their signs. Uneducated Economist, you let me know.